Pulivinaka, this is Pacific Waves from RNZ Pacific. I'm Elisha Foon. Coming up, a historic bill to restore entitlement to New Zealand citizenship for people born in Western Samoa passes its second reading. Also,
don't slap the hand that has fed you. Have a good disassociation arrangement when you become independent.
Fiji's Prime Minister cautions New Caledonia's local government ahead of a Pacific fact-finding mission. And
we want to give their science students an opportunity to be able to be a scientist.
Tongan students are being encouraged to join the field of science. But first, New Zealand's Prime Minister Christopher Luxon says they are working to safely remove fuel tanks from its ship Manawanui that sunk off the south coast of Samoa's main island. 3 containers have now been recovered as work on the New Zealand Navy ship was scaled back for the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. A historic bill to restore entitlement to New Zealand citizenship for people born in Western Samoa between 1924 and 1949 has passed its second reading in Parliament. Green Party MP Te Ono Tuiono's bill was supported by all parties, including National, which did not back it during the first reading. Caleb Fotheringham was there in Wellington and filed this report.
Hey, hey! Oh. Hey, hey! Oh. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for indulging in me. I just wanted to make sure we had some Samoans in the House today.
Green Party MP Te Ono Tuiono's Restoring Citizenship Removed by Citizenship Act 1982 bill passed its second reading today, backed this time by all parties. National MP Tom Rutherford was emotional, talking about the injustice Samoans have faced in the past at the hands of New Zealand.
To our Samoan community watching today, this legislation acknowledges your place in the fabric of our nation and reaffirms the special relationship between our two countries.
Labour MP Barbara Edmonds says New Zealand has to acknowledge the treaty of friendship the two nations have. Meanwhile, there's a new crisis happening in Samoa, the Manawanui, which sank last month after running aground off the south coast of Samoa's main island. That could put this to the test.
We need to ensure that we do not trample on the friendship again and right that wrong. And I acknowledge that there is work being done, but please listen to the Samoan people on the ground. Please listen to those villagers who cannot fish. Please listen to those villagers who cannot put food on their families' tables.
In 1982, the Privy Council ruled that because those born in Western Samoa were treated by New Zealand law as natural-born British subjects, they were entitled to New Zealand citizenship when it was first created in 1948. However, the national government at the time, with support from Labour, took that away with the Western Samoa Citizenship Act 1982, effectively overturning the Privy Council ruling. Mr Tuiono says his party and Labour want to see the entitlement broaden, while National supported the second reading on the condition it applied to only the initial cohort.
But we did have some differences of opinions, particularly around who this would apply to. Many submissions came forward about trying to widen the scope of the bill, in particular widening the bill to include descendants born before 1962.
On the 1st of January 1962, Samoa became independent of New Zealand. Many submissions from the Samoan community wanted the immediate descendants of the group and those born prior to 1962 included in the offer of citizenship. Among those calling for that is chairman of the Pacific Leadership Forum, Taliai Edwin Punai.
The sad thing is for those that have missed out. 42 years, many have passed away. But for the lost time, can we make something out of it by adding a little bit more, not 48, but may be taken down to 61.
He's hoping to see changes before the final reading.
Why stop now? There is the committee of the whole House, and that's where amendments and supplements can be. And I'm hoping that after today, National, including ACT, as well as New Zealand First, can look at some of the areas that we can progress a little bit more.
Samoa's Prime Minister Fiamia Naumai Mataafa says what happens with the bill is a matter for New Zealand.
It's not a matter for us to have a position or not a position on. We will not get in the way of Samoans who want to pursue that. But as a government, we are not participating in the dialogue.
The nation in the past has struggled with depopulation, including having skilled workers leave for New Zealand's recognised seasonal employment scheme. If the bill is extended to those born before 1962, it could mean about 19,000 people were given citizenship, up from about 3,500.
The depopulation issue, we are already depopulated in many ways, and that's an ongoing challenge for us. But, that's a different conversation for us.
The Samoan community is taking today as a victory, hoping the bill will change to include a wider group before it becomes law.
Fiji's Prime Minister is cautioning New Caledonia's local government to be reasonable in its request from Paris, ahead of a Pacific fact-finding mission. An anticipated high-level Pacific visit to the French territory is on its way, after it was deferred by the local government in August, following allegations Paris was pushing its own agenda. Sitiveni Ramboka is one of the 4 Pacific leaders taking part, and he told RNZ Pacific listening is key.
I'm hoping that they will be very, very reasonable about what they're asking for. When they started, the Kanake movement started during my time as Prime Minister, I told them, look, don't slap the hand that has fed you. Have a good disassociation arrangement. When you become independent, make sure you part as friends.
The Prime Ministers of Solomon Islands, Tonga and Cook Islands will also travel with Mr Ramboka, and they land in Noumea this Sunday. A photography exhibition has been launched as a CHOGM side event, capturing the experiences of Pacific people grappling with the effects of the climate crisis. Trouble in Paradise, the exhibition, was a joint collaboration between British Council Aotearoa New Zealand and the Pacific, AUT University and MFAT. Susana Suisuiki spoke with British Council Director Natasha Beckman about the exhibition.
The exhibition comes from a competition that the UK government held in the lead up to COP26. So they asked people in the Pacific countries where there are British missions to document the impact of climate change on their everyday lives. And the photographs were so amazing that we at British Council decided to curate it into an exhibition with New Zealand partners. So it's been exhibited before, I think 8 venues, but including Otago Museum, New Zealand Parliament, Turner Centre in Kirikiri, a few others. And it's just kind of taken on this life of its own. And then we brought in the poetry of Selena Tusitala Marsh and David Eggleton. And then I had this crazy idea to take it to CHOGM, but not so crazy because the CHOGM theme is all about resilience, and with the photographs, even though a lot of them are very devastating, they also have a sense of hope. So, and we wanted the opportunity to take this art as a platform for bigger kind of policy discussions to world leaders at CHOGM. So we're thrilled with the turnout tonight and the distinguished guests and media, and just this exhibition seems to really captivate people. Yeah, so we're very excited about that.
I'm going to get back to you on the policy discussions,
yeah.
But where have all these photographs come from? Like where are these photographers, are they mainly based in the Pacific?
Yeah, they are. So like we're saying, there's the countries where there are the 6 British missions, and forgive me if I miss one, Vanuatu, Tonga, Samoa, Fiji, Papua New Guinea and Solomon Islands. Excellent. Yeah, so they're from those places. They're all the contributing nations. But tonight we tracked down one of the Samoa. It would be lovely if you wanted to talk to her. So she's here. She has the image with the women holding hands, which is really lovely. So yeah, we tracked down the artist because we wanted to celebrate her. But she's actually based in New Zealand, so she'll come along. So this exhibition after here, we're gifting to AUT in the capable hands of Damon Salesa and his team, and we'd love to have the artists involved with the opening when we do it there.
Why CHOGM? Why did you want this exhibition to be an official event for CHOGM?
Yeah, I think several reasons, but one of which, as I mentioned earlier, we felt like the exhibition really aligned with the resilience theme, and we were aware that a lot of the bigger policy conversations were going to be around climate. But also for us, you know, how often do we get an opportunity where we have these stakeholders, global leaders, His Majesty the King, Prime Ministers here, so for us to miss out on that opportunity to talk about the global challenges that are going on in the Pacific, would have been crazy. So that's why we've made so much effort, and we're so grateful for our partners.
Two Tongan scientists at Auckland University of Technology hope giving back to a school in the kingdom will help inspire the next generation of Tongan STEM students. Dr. Chris Polieva and Dr. Taniela Lolohea have just returned from helping to equip and set up a science laboratory at the oldest and largest school in Tonga, Tupu College Toloa. Both have strong connections to the college and went there in September to deliver donated science equipment, set up laboratories, update the science curriculum and kick off a project to improve the school's drinkable water supply. Koroi Hawkins spoke with one half of the duo, immunologist Dr. Chris Polieva, about their support.
So very quickly, I used to be a high school teacher. I taught at this particular high school 2012 and 2013. And during that time, while I was there as a teacher, I noticed that the labs was really bad. It was really run down. We weren't able to carry out experiments there. And so this was a high school. I was teaching biology and chemistry to year 12 and year 13 students. We weren't able to do simple experiments in this lab. So I found that I had to take my students away from the school to use another school's lab and so on. But and then after the years, earlier on this year, the school had then built a new lab, and they've broken them up into physics, chemistry, and biology. And now it was just a matter of filling it in with some, with tables and lab equipment and so on. And so I'd been sort of working on the side, sort of collecting lab equipment from here at AUT. Excess equipment that they had. So that included glassware, other electronic stuff as well. And didn't realize that while I'm doing that at the same time, another colleague of mine called Taniela Lolohea, so he's also a lecturer here, but in chemistry, he was also working on the side, collecting stuff to take to Tonga. And then we found out that we were both collecting for the same school and so on. But so we then ended up working together. And so we managed to even get things like microscopes. And so microscopes was probably one of the biggest things that we were able to take over there, cell culture hoods and so on. And we had shipped them over in a container, sent them off into Tonga, just in time for the opening of the new lab. So the opening then took place with now all this lab equipment and stuff that's there. And then more recently, last month, Daniela and I went back to Tonga to take the last piece of equipment, and that was the 3D printer to help with some of their teaching resources. The idea was that we wanted to enable, build capability and capacity in the teaching space. So took that over there, and for the final part, and so this is the beginning of now a relationship where we want to work closely with Tonga, in particular the school. This school is like a sort of a low decile, so to say, in Tonga. So very under-resourced and so on. And so the idea here then is Daniela and I are going to begin to build that relationship with the school and provide some opportunities for some of these students coming up.
The interest in science in the islands, obviously you grow up around a lot of nature, marine biology, you're taught the traditional things about your land and growing and farming and all of this. Is it just a natural transition into science, or is it something that you really have to encourage kids to look at?
Yes, we have this natural tendency, right, to better understand the environment that we grow in. And that was me growing up. So I was born in Tonga, but we moved here when I was very young. But I went back to Tonga, and I wasn't very good at science. I was much better at economics and accounting, but it was the science that really interested me. I really wanted to understand what was going on around me, right? And so that's the sort of normal thing that the kids go through. However, we still need to encourage it because there's now a drop in the number of science students, science and maths in particular. And so I think we've got to work harder now. And I think what's happened there is that Tonga or their parents have recognized that there's potentially no future for future scientists in Tonga. And so they end up going into other things where there's a clear pathway ahead of them. And that could include, and I was talking with the principal of the law about this, and he mentioned that there's an academy for rugby. So there's a pathway. You come through, you do really, really well. There are opportunities to go overseas, scholarship to go finish off high school over here, and you can get a contract with Europe, countries in Europe and so on. So there's a pathway there, and that encourages students to take that pathway. And the other one is music. The law is very, very good. They've got a very good brass band. They attended a brass band competition here not long ago, and they can then get picked up by other places to join their bands and things like that. So those are the automatic sort of pathways for them, but for science there isn't any. And that was the concern that the principal had, and then that's what we want to try and build in Tonga, is we want to give their science students an opportunity to be able to be a scientist, whether that be medical science or biological science, like a marine biologist or environmental or plant biologist and things like that. So that's what me and Daniela have been tasked to do, is to try and see how we can help that. But you asked a very important question. Yes to both. Yes, we have that normal tendency, but it drops off, and then so we've got to encourage that.
That's Pacific Waves for today. For all episodes, head over to rnz.co.nz/Pacific. We're also on Spotify, Apple and iHeartRadio. From myself and the RNZ Pacific team, tofa soifua.